St. Louis Public Schools. How long have you been superintendent?
I've been superintendent 7 years and 9 months.
7 years and 9 months, counting every day, are you? We should also say, in terms of full disclosure, happy birthday.
Thank you very much. That's a surprise. Thank you very much.
You didn't know it was your birthday?
I know it's my birthday. I didn't know you knew it was my birthday.
We go to the ends of the earth to give you all the latest information here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Thank you very much.
35 or 36?
60.
60, okay.
60, the big 6-0.
You were telling me on the break that your son lives in Los Angeles, but the last time I was talking to you, your daughter was playing basketball down in New Orleans, right?
Basketball in New Orleans, and she played at Tuskegee as well. She's teaching right now in New Orleans, so I'm going home tonight to have a family dinner with them. So.
All right. Now, is she affected by the floods and all that?
No, Baton Rouge was affected, but New Orleans is not affected.
All right, good. All right, let's get to it. Let's first start at the beginning, because people think they know what's going on with this flood story or this lead story, but there's quite a bit that hasn't been reported and isn't understood. The St. Louis Public Schools, you did this on your own, tested the water.
Yes, we were not required to test the water. A parent made a request sometimes in February or March of last school year relative to one school. We decided to test that particular school, found that no results came back with any lead in that building. And then we went to the board sometimes in April and May and asked the board to approve the testing of our water fountains during the summer. An editorial came out in the Post indicating that we should do that anyway. Second editorial came out as well, so I want to acknowledge that 2 editorials did come out in the Post relative to that, but we were well on the road of looking to do that anyway.
And that was because of Flint, because of this parent, because of all the things? I guess it was all...
A combination of all of those things together. Obviously, the parent raised an issue, and so we tested and found nothing in those water fountains, but it put in mind to us that we should be looking to see if that was an issue. We've been really aggressive since 2001 around lead, so all of our buildings in grades pre-K through grade 2nd have been remediated. Taken out all of the dust, all of the lead paint. We've done all of the kinds of things we needed to do, spent $10 million when we didn't have the dollars to do so. A commitment was made by the board to do that. So this was a continuation of the effort to try to make sure that our buildings are safe and secure.
Where every penny is important, especially in the city schools. You took the upon yourself to study. You came back, and last week was what, the preliminary study?
Preliminary results came back last week. We were still working. As you can imagine, some 797 samples were taken with sinks and fountains, and some we had to find in buildings that hadn't been used in a period of time. And so, yes, the preliminary results came back. Full disclosure, because it was the first day of school, this is day 8, so we wanted to make parents and the community aware, so we did letters to those 32 schools that had issues, any issue with water. We identified them and told the public about them, and obviously the story broke then.
Right. You also, I learned, did something. You did the first draw test, so you wanted to know after the water sat in the pipes for a while, right? I mean, it was the hardest test possible, right?
It was the most rigorous test, 6 to 8 hours. Normally, you can turn on the water for 15 minutes and do a test then, but we took the initiative to make sure it was the worst-case scenario. We wanted to see where our water fountains were, what our sinks were, and yes, it is considered the worst-case scenario.
When the story broke last week that there was some lead in the water, everyone's mind went to, maybe because of Flint, maybe because of whatever else, it's the pipes, and it's going to cost billions to fix all the pipes in the schools, to fix the pipes from the water source and all that. What have we found out since?
What we found out since is that it seems to be water fountains and faucets on sinks. So we replaced some 30 faucets on sinks over the last 2 weeks. What has come back is that, 18 is what we've replaced. 11 of them have come back clean, meaning that after we changed the faucets, we tested the water again. Water is below 10 parts per billion, which is the standard that we put in place. And again, that's the standard that we put in place. The City of St. Louis standard is 15 parts per billion, and the standard for EPA is 20. So we reduce that by 50%. We want to be really careful about making sure that our water is clean. But long story short is we found that 11 out of 18 have come back fine. 2 failed, so those are turned off while we have to do some more analysis. And the other 5, we're still waiting for results to come back.
So why is it that the pipes are good, the pipes are old,
Yes.
but the faucets are new? How can the faucets solve the problem of the lead in the water?
What we believe is that some of the faucets were faucets that had lead in them, although they were in place, and being used, and some put in place after the, over the last 10 or 15 years. We believe that some of those faucets have come from China and other places where you don't have the kind of restrictions and regulations. So over time, faucet breaks, we put another one in, and so that's what we believe is the case right now. It may be possible that some of the pipes are problematic, but we want to start moving backwards from the faucet and the sinks first, and then look at the pipes last.
Right. One of the schools that was tested positive was VaShawn, and that's been completely redone in the last 10, 12 years or so.
That is correct.
So I was shocked that VaShawn had lead in their water because the pipes should all be brand new, but it's the faucets. And no one ever thought to check the faucets.
And so what we've done, just to be real transparent about it, in some cases we've checked the water coming out of the faucet, turned off the faucet, cut a hole in the pipe behind the faucets, and found that there's no lead issue behind the faucet. So we knew it had to be the faucet. So we kind of isolated it to the faucets and to the fountains.
Right, yeah. We've also found out now, Dr. Kelvin Adams, Superintendent of the St. Louis Schools, that your being proactive has now spurred other school districts around the area to check for lead.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of calls. The company that we use as well has gotten a lot of calls, and a lot of districts are looking at this to see if it is something that they need to do. That wasn't our intent, quite frankly. It was our intent to do what we need to do for the 72 buildings that we service, but it is positive if other persons are looking to see that that's an issue.
Yeah. How hard is it to test for lead? I'm thinking if somebody buys a faucet and they have a faucet from 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago, how hard is it to test for lead? I know you're a superintendent and not a lead tester, but
the company took 3 months to do this, and so they had to go and draw water, send the results away, 5 to 7 days for results to come back. We asked them to expedite some of the results so we could have them ready for our board meeting last night.
Right.
But my understanding is an arduous process. They have to test the water, they have to draw the water and do all those kinds of things. I don't know the details of how they do it, but it has taken us 3 months for 72 buildings and some almost 800 samples.
We have no idea how long those water fountains have been contaminated.
No idea.
No idea.
No idea.
And when all the big work, I remember the stories of the millions of dollars the St. Louis City spent on sort of fixing the lead paint. Did we check the water then? Was there no one ever thought to check the water?
No, until obviously the Detroit, Flint, Michigan case, this was a minimal issue, and it became a major issue across the country. Chicago has done it in other districts as well. We didn't think about the water. It wasn't on our radar.
Yeah. So going forward, you're still waiting for some test results.
We have all the final results at this point in time, but we're retesting, and so this is a process that will continue. We will test annually now for those that are below 10. We will continue to test annually, and for those that we put back in service again, we will be testing annually as well.
How much money is all this causing?
We don't know. The board approved $1 million last night to fix this problem, but we have no idea right now what it's going to cost. To actually do the testing, it's cost about $100,000. To replace some of the water fountains and the like, it's cost about another $50,000, $60,000. So about $150,000 right now, and we're just starting. 88 issues, 12 have been remediated, 76 still are out there that we are working through, and we anticipate that this will be completed by October 31st.
And I guess it's the best case scenario, so you don't have to dig up all the pipes and all the walls, since it's the faucets. So we sort of dodged a bullet in a sense.
There may be some cases that we'll have to dig up some things, but at this point in time, we're believing that it would be minimal, but we don't know. Again, we still have 76 out there. We are hopeful that the initial results that we got back show that it seems to be the faucets in most cases, and so we're hopeful.
You'd also think that the faucets, they wouldn't be that way, if they're contaminated with lead. Maybe that's a wear out issue, so it wouldn't have been a bigger problem say 3-4 years ago, right? If
That's
the
correct.
faucet's been around
That's
10
correct.
years,
That's correct.
the last few years it might have been
That's
bad,
correct.
but the first 7 years it was fine.
And that's what we believe, that we have to continue to do the testing annually, because the faucets deteriorate over time, and if they had lead content in them, that's when the flakes will come out.
Yeah. While we still have you here, how are things going otherwise with the St. Louis City Schools?
St. Louis Schools District is doing well. We hope to get some positive results in the next 30 days when the state results come out. I don't think they're really out until November 7th, but we are hopeful. We were fully accredited based on points last year, and if we do the same thing again this year, then the state has told us that they will recognize us as being fully accredited. That's a long way from 10 years ago when the district was unaccredited, had a $6 million deficit, and a number of other issues. And so we feel proud about what's happening.
Once you become accredited, if and when you become accredited, does the 3-board panel go away and you go back to the elected board?
No, right now the 3-member panel is in place for 2019, irrespective of what the results may be. Obviously, we lost one of our board members last night. Melanie Adams is moving on, but the 3-member panel will stay in place until 2019.
Gotcha. I love to tell this story. You told me this story, and you just sort of, your jaw drops when you realize the things that a city school district has to deal with that, say, others don't have to deal with. You told me once, and I want to make sure I have the numbers right, you have to teach children from 40 different languages that come to your doorstep?
That is correct. We have a school that manages new American students coming for the very first time from Syria, from everywhere. And so they go to one of our schools called a New American Prep School, and then they go to our regular schools. But yeah, we have I think 6 translators who work with students from all over the world.
That's unbelievable.
It's what we do, and so we are proud of the work that we do, and proud of the employees who work every day to service those kids. They're really committed to making sure that kids get the kind of services that they need to have, and we're just proud of them.
And you have probably one of the most prestigious high schools in the country here in St. Louis City Schools.
Metro School is number 1 in the state, and I think number 32 in the nation. They do a real excellent job of the work that they do. And we're proud of the work that Metro does, but we also have another high school called CSMB that we just put in place about 3 years ago. They'll have their first graduating class this year, and we expect them to be right up there with Metro. So McKinley High School as well, a number of schools. I don't want to call all of them out, but yes, we're proud of the high schools that we have. Our elementary schools, Kennard, number 1, also in the region, as well as a gifted elementary school, and we're also looking to create a gifted school in North St. Louis, which has never happened before. So,
Dr. Kelvin Adams, there are people listening to this who say that the St. Louis Public Schools, you can't save them, shut them down, go private, go charter. There's no way to fix these schools. What do you tell them?
Wrong. We're proving that we have. We continue to do that. The voters approved some 70% that tax levy last year because they are proud of the work that's going on, and they believe in the work that's happening. Those dollars, some $18 million, will be used this year for salaries for employees, safety, security, and early child education. So I think they're wrong. Matter of fact, I know they're wrong.
60 years old today. How much longer are you going to stick around?
As long as they want me.
Really?
Yes, as long as they want me.
I think we should clone you, and you clone a younger you, and just keep you on for another 30 years. Dr. Kelvin Adams, Superintendent of the school, the St. Louis City Schools. Everybody should know that this was your proactive and the board's proactive thinking to test the water. No government, no regulation. You guys did this on your own, and you caught what could have been a very big issue early.
Yes, again, a parent brought it up. I want to be clear about that. A parent brought it to our attention. The Post sent a couple of editorials and what was happening in Flint. So it was a combination of a lot of things that said, okay, we can either say do nothing or we could take an aggressive step, and we took the aggressive step.
So everybody did their job. The parents were concerned parents.
Yep.
The media held the leaders accountable.
Yep.
The leaders listened to the parents and everybody else, and you thought and you did what was right.
The right thing, yes, sir.
Isn't it amazing when everybody has a voice in the process?
That's how it's supposed to work, isn't it?
Doctor, thank you for coming in. You're always welcome here.
Thank you very much.
You got it. 9:25, Big Five.